want to welcome everybody. My name is David Rodriguez. I am the president for the Criminal Justice Club. Just to give you a brief history about the club, this is our second year. I know some of y'all have been to multiple meetings. Some of y'all, this is your first hearing about it, maybe through the school or through a professor or whatnot. Just a little bit about us. Back in 2007, Professor Toller, Professor Hildebrand asked Marty Cox, who is out in the hall right now, to kind of work on starting up a club that could help folks, students, network and find different outlets of learning about criminal justice, not just through the academies, not just through the law enforcement agencies themselves, but also more or less through each other. So she went ahead and did the research. We filed some paperwork with ACC, and this is our second year as the club. The first year we didn't have a whole lot of events, but we had good turnouts for the ones we have, and this year we're a little bit more organized, and hopefully everyone here will be able to play a part in the coming years as far as the leadership of the club or volunteering or helping out, making this more of what we wanted to, maybe more of what we wanted to become. If you hadn't met the person next to you, maybe during the break, make sure you say hello, introduce yourself, how you're involved, where you heard about us, maybe even talk about what your career plans are, because that's kind of what this is for. And everybody else should be open, willing to talk about that when the opportunity arises. So we're going to call to order, and that's what we've done right now. The first part one of the agenda, if you don't have it right next to you, maybe you can grab one, is to just review the February meeting. And for those of you who attended, I won't go into detail, but we talked about the meeting. We talked about the events we had last fall. We had Sergeant Aleman from the Attorney General's office speak. We had Sergeant Jason Smith from the Pflugerville Police Department speak, and we had Courtney Mott from the Austin Police Department Victim Services speak at one of our meetings. We had 2 volunteer activities. One was at Brown Santa, and one was at Build a Park. So just a couple of things we did as a club last fall rather. We decided we did have a vacancy open, and we called for nominations for our secretary for our positions. Steve Rossi was nominated, and he won a landslide, unopposed. He's up there right now. So Steve's going to be our new secretary for the club, and we will have some vacancies coming up too, and I'll talk more about those here in a second. We talked about the different types of events everybody wants to do. It sounds like people are kind of half and half between touring a law enforcement facility and also maybe going to a gun range, learning about some different weaponry from an expert that either Professor Hildebrand or Mr. Toller will kind of set up for us. So look forward to that type of event, being scheduled here in the next couple months, possibly into the fall. We took a poll for all of those who haven't come out to Eastview before. We took a poll for the folks who are in the audience, and it seems like Eastview is probably everyone's choice thus far, given the option of here, Highland Business Center, or Cypress Creek. I want to do it again, though, just in the odd chance that it might change a little bit, but of here, Highland Business Center, or way up north in Cypress Creek, who would prefer to meet here if you would come out and speak? Okay. What about Highland Business Center? 1 or 2? Okay. And then what about Cypress Creek? So maybe a few more for Cypress Creek, but mostly Eastview still. Okay. It's good to know. One of the challenges of getting organized as a club is trying to find a good place for the members to meet. So we'll keep that in mind and maybe head out to Cypress Creek at least once or twice a year for those who want to meet us out there. Also, I just kind of want to take a brief poll of students or of attendees here. How many folks are criminal justice students? How many are going through the TCLO certification program? Okay. 4 or 5, myself included. How many are non-CJ students coming here to learn more about the club, maybe hear Chief Acevedo speak? A few of y'all out there. Great. Welcome. Okay. How many folks currently work for a law enforcement agency? And then how many folks, if you're not already in one, are looking to try to get into a law enforcement agency after you graduate from ACC or get the... So the vast majority, it seems like, are trying to go that route, which is good to know. Maybe you can, if you meet somebody right here, you'll see them later on down the line at one of the agencies. So I encourage you to do that. Going on to Part C in our bylaws, we like to include our members in the writing of the bylaws and whatnot. And then if you go online right now, you'll see it, and it's kind of a very raw form right now. But what we're planning on doing is making sure the bylaws are really specific about what the mission of the club is. So we're going to talk about what kind of volunteer activities we're going to have, what the officers are going to do, what kind of events we're going to have, and we're going to be able to publish that here in probably the next couple weeks or so. So be sure to check out that for the bylaws. The main thing that I wanted to also let everybody know is that we're also going to be adding a volunteer chair to our CJC committee right now. Right now we have a president, a vice president, a community relations chair, a treasurer, and a secretary. All those folks work equally as far as making decisions in the voting on what kind of events we're going to set up, but they also have unique functions in themselves. Treasurer being one who handles the finances, and then secretary recording the meetings, so on and so forth. If you're interested in any of those, kind of start thinking about maybe that's a role you want to take on going into the fall semester. Moving on to Part D, we actually open up the entire, all slots. Again, that's president, vice president, treasurer, secretary, volunteer chair, and community events chair. So 6 seats really on the CJC panel will be open, and it really be open to any CJC member that fills out a membership. It's an active member right now. If you haven't done anything before, that's fine. It's a good time to just kind of get your feet wet. Like I said, the bylaws will kind of be able to tell you what types of things you can expect to do and things like that. Personally speaking, I've been able to meet a lot of people inside the college and outside the college as well. Being able to shake hands with folks from the Attorney General's office, and being able to shake hands with former Chief Pearson from DPS, from the Texas Rangers. Last meeting was a great honor. I've been able to talk to Professor Toller, Professor Hildebrand a lot more. Just get the dialogue open about things that I want to do. I encourage you to, think about working on the committee, because that's definitely something you'll be able to enjoy if you take that role. So this is a call for nominations, but we won't actually be accepting nominations up until our April meeting. And then our May elections is when we'll have the final kind of election for each position. Something you want to do, something you want to think about doing, please do that. If you want to email me or anybody, or talk to Professor Toller or Hildebrand about commitments, please do that. We're definitely welcome to just talk to folks about it. Toller, Professor Hildebrand a lot more. Just get the dialogue open about things that I want to do. I encourage you to, think about working on the committee, because that's definitely something you'll be able to enjoy if you take that role. So this is a call for nominations, but we won't actually be accepting nominations up until our April meeting. And then our May elections is when we'll have the final kind of election for each position. Something you want to do, something you want to think about doing, please do that. If you want to email me or anybody, or talk to Professor Toller or Hildebrand about commitments, please do that. We're definitely welcome to to just talk to folks about it.